Have you ever felt a connection so strong it defies explanation? Join me on a journey from the exhilaration of graduation to the chilling encounters that rocked my world. What happens when a stranger's warning unravels the love of a lifetime? Discover the lessons learned in this thrilling tale of trust, caution, and the pursuit of personal safety. The tassel on my graduation cap swung as I tossed it into the air. Euphoria and disbelief washed over me. 4 years of late-night study sessions and caffeine-fueled cramming had given way to the open road ahead. While I loved college, an insatiable desire to explore beyond the campus walls tugged at me. Raising my glass in toast with my friends by the bonfire, I declared, "Here's to new beginnings." The flickering bonfire light danced in their eyes, filled with hope and anticipation. Our road trip wasn't just a celebration, it was a chance to redefine ourselves outside academia. The morning sun peeked over the horizon as we set out on our adventure, our car packed to the brim with luggage and laughter. The landscape blurred together, green fields giving way to towering mountains and endless stretches of highway. "All right, gang, time for a break," I announced, pulling into a gas station somewhere between yesterday's dreams and tomorrow's promises. My hands were slightly trembling from gripping the steering wheel for so long. As I entered the gas station store to buy some snacks, the fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting eerie shadows on the aisles. I hesitated between the salty allure of classic potato chips and the spicy temptation of jalapeno-flavored ones. As I finally made my choice, the bag slipped from my grasp, falling to the floor with a soft rustle. "Allow me," came a deep voice from behind, accompanied by the sound of footsteps. I turned to see a tall man bending down to retrieve the fallen bag. His jet black hair framed a tanned face, while piercing blue eyes met mine. My heart raced as he handed me the bag, a warm smile gracing his lips. "Happens to the best of us," he said, chuckling softly. "Thanks," I managed to stammer, cursing my apparent lack of coordination. "I'm usually not this clumsy." "Maybe it's the road trip excitement getting to you," he suggested, his eyes twinkling with curiosity. "Are you on your way somewhere interesting?" "Actually, yeah," I replied, feeling more at ease as we engaged in friendly banter. "My friends and I just graduated college, and we're on a soul-searching adventure across the country. Sounds like a once-in-a-lifetime experience," he mused, clearly impressed. "I'm Andrew, by the way, Lila," I introduced myself, our connection sparking with each exchanged word. As we continued our conversation, laughter flowed effortlessly between us. The world outside seemed to fade away as we shared our dreams and aspirations, a sense of familiarity settling in despite our brief acquaintance. When we parted ways, the memory of his piercing blue eyes and warm smile lingered in my thoughts. It wasn't until a month after returning home that the surprise of my life arrived in the form of a message from none other than Andrew himself. My heart leaped into my throat as I read his words, wondering how he'd even managed to find me. "Hey, Lila. I hope you don't mind me reaching out like this. I remembered your name from the gas station and thought I'd take a chance to see if I could find you. I felt like we had an instant connection, and I couldn't let it go without trying to get to know you better. If you're interested in chatting, I'd love to hear from you. Is this for real?" I whispered to myself, rereading the message at least half a dozen times before finally mustering up the courage to respond. "Hi, Andrew. I'm honestly surprised that you found me, but I'm glad you did. I've been thinking about our encounter too and would be happy to chat," I typed hesitantly, my fingers trembling against the keyboard, and so began the spark that would ignite our romantic connection. Conversations flowed effortlessly between us, as if we'd known each other for years rather than mere moments. The magnetic pull I'd felt towards Andrew only grew stronger, drawing me closer and closer into his orbit until it became impossible to resist. Our relationship blossomed like the flowers in spring. Our first date was at a cozy little cafe where the aroma of freshly brewed coffee enveloped us as we exchanged stories, laughter, and knowing glances. He held my hand gently, his touch electrifying yet comforting. It was as if our souls had known each other for a lifetime. "Actually, I have a proposal for you." Andrew paused, hesitating for a moment before continuing. "I know this might sound crazy, but would you consider moving in with me?" My heart skipped a beat, caught between youthful love and the weight of my reservations. The whirlwind nature of our relationship was undeniable, but the thought of taking such a bold step left me feeling torn. Wow, Andrew. That's, quite the proposal. I stammered, my mind racing to comprehend his unexpected question. I need some time to think about it, of course, he replied, his voice gentle and understanding. Take all the time you need, Lila. I'll be here, no matter what you decide. As we said our goodbyes that night, my thoughts swirled like a hurricane, struggling to find solid ground amidst the chaos. The days that followed were a blur of conflicting emotions as I mulled over Andrew's proposal. Days later, as I began the process of moving into his home, I was struck by an eerie sensation while walking around the neighborhood. It felt as if someone were watching me, their gaze prickling the hairs on the back of my neck. I spun around, searching for the source of the unnerving feeling. When I saw her, she appeared seemingly out of nowhere, a mysterious girl who looked no older than 16. Her long, silver hair cascaded down her back, framing her unusually pale face. Her eyes were an icy blue, piercing and cold, sending shivers down my spine. She wore a white dress that seemed to shimmer in the late afternoon sunlight, making her appear almost ethereal. Who are you? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper. The girl said nothing, simply staring back at me with those haunting eyes. Hey, Lila. Andrew called from across the street. Need any help? I glanced over at him, grateful for his timely interruption. But when I looked back, the mysterious girl had vanished without a trace. Did you see that girl? I asked Andrew, still reeling from the encounter. Who? There's nobody here but us, he said, looking around with a puzzled expression on his face. Never mind, I muttered, trying to shake off the uneasy feeling that settled in my chest. As Andrew continued to help me move into his home, I couldn't help but feel the weight of those icy blue eyes watching me, leaving me to wonder if I was stepping into something far more complex than simply moving in with the man I loved. The following days were filled with strange encounters. The mysterious girl with the icy blue eyes seemed to appear out of nowhere, always in my peripheral vision, watching me from a distance. Her presence sent shivers down my spine, making my heart race and my palms sweat. She never spoke, never approached me, but her gaze followed me everywhere I went. One evening, as I was walking home from work, I saw her standing beneath the flickering streetlight, her silver hair like a halo around her head. She looked at me intently, her cold eyes piercing through me, and finally spoke in a voice that sounded like wind whispering through barren trees. Leave him, she said cryptically, her words chilling me to the core. He's not what he seems. My breath caught in my throat as I tried to process her warning. But before I could muster the courage to respond, she disappeared into the shadows, leaving me alone on the quiet street. Who are you? I whispered into the darkness, my heart pounding in my chest. I couldn't shake her words from my mind, no matter how hard I tried. Was there something about Andrew I didn't know? My curiosity and fear gnawed at me, making it difficult to sleep or concentrate on anything else. As much as I loved Andrew, I couldn't ignore the sense of foreboding that had settled over our relationship. Heart pounding in my chest, I continued down the street, each step bringing me closer to the mysterious girl's house. My breath came out in small puffs that were devoured by the cold air. The neighborhood was hushed and still, as if it was holding its breath along with me. As I rounded a corner, I spotted a middle-aged couple leaving their home for church. The woman clutched a worn Bible to her chest, and the man adjusted his tie, a solemn expression on his face. Maybe they could help me make sense of the unsettling feelings I had about Andrew. Excuse me, I called out, trying to keep my voice steady. They turned towards me, their eyes widening in surprise at my sudden approach. Can I help you? The man asked cautiously, his gaze flicking between me and the house I sought. Actually, yes, I said, swallowing hard. I'm looking for a girl who lives around here. She's been warning me about someone, and I need to know more. The couple exchanged a troubled glance before the woman spoke up. You must be talking about our daughter, she said softly, her hands trembling slightly. Your daughter? I echoed, taken aback. What has she said to you? Their shocked reactions to my inquiry were palpable. The woman dropped her purse, and the man caught her before she fainted. Our daughter, she passed away 2 years ago, he choked out, his voice heavy with grief. Passed away? I whispered, my head spinning. How is that possible? I've spoken to her, her spirit, she's lingered here, the woman said, tears streaming down her cheeks. We hoped, that maybe she was finally finding peace. But if she's reaching out to you, then something must be very wrong, Andrew, I murmured, hardly able to grasp the enormity of what they were telling me. She warned me about Andrew St. Clair, the man asked, his face darkening. He was involved in our daughter's death, though the police never found enough evidence to charge him. We've always believed he had a part in it. My heart felt like it was being squeezed in a vice as I tried to reconcile this revelation with the man I had grown to love. The seemingly perfect relationship I had shared with Andrew crumbled before me, leaving behind jagged shards of disbelief and doubt. Thank you, I managed to say, my voice barely audible. I'm so sorry for your loss. As I walked away from the couple's house, my mind raced with the revelation that Andrew might be involved in something sinister. Doubt gnawed at me, and I knew I had to confront him. So, when I arrived home, my heart heavy with suspicion, I found Andrew waiting for me in the dimly lit living room. Andrew, I said, my voice trembling with a mixture of anger and fear. Tell me the truth. What do you know about that girl, the one with the silver hair and haunting eyes? His eyes darted away for a moment, but then he met my gaze with an intensity that sent shivers down my spine. I don't know what you're talking about, Lila. You're imagining things, but I wasn't about to let him manipulate me any longer. I hastily packed my things, jumped in the car, and drove off. As I drove away, I glanced out of the window and saw the couple's daughter standing in the driveway. She smiled at me and gave me an approving nod. In that instant, a ray of light illuminated her from above. She began to shine brighter and brighter until she was engulfed in it. Then suddenly her parents' car pulled up as they were coming back from church. They stepped out, embraced each other tightly, and wept tears of joy that they could finally see their beloved daughter for the first time in 3 years. As we stood there, a profound sense of tranquility washed over us all as we watched her disappear. With that newfound peace, I continued my journey and couldn't help but reflect on the lessons I had learned throughout this tumultuous journey, such as 1. Carefully evaluate your options, gather information, and make well-informed decisions when faced with major choices. 2. While forming new connections can be exhilarating, it's vital to remain vigilant, especially when navigating unfamiliar people or situations. 3. When someone voices concerns or offers a cautionary message, it's wise to delve deeper into the matter. Ignoring such warnings without due consideration could lead to dire consequences. 4. In the face of troubling circumstances or unsettling information, seeking help from the appropriate authorities or professionals is essential. Attempting to handle everything independently can potentially exacerbate complications. Above all, when pursuing love and adventure, prioritize personal safety, as it's crucial to make choices that safeguard your well-being, even when presented with exciting opportunities or challenging decisions.